Hey everybody, it's Taki117 back with StarQuest, and our Kerbals really need to put some lights on the launch pad. But we are once again going to try for our inclined orbit. Now, between episodes, I put a satellite into a polar orbit that is currently scanning the planet, mapping it out for us. Let's see how the Kerbals do this time. And lift off. So hopefully this and as you can see, I do have my maneuver planner now, so if at the very least I will be able to execute maneuvers far more efficiently. And we'll do 210. And a beautiful sunset. Absolutely beautiful. It will be nice once I get the ascent guidance, because then I can just launch these rockets and they will know exactly where they need to go, instead of me having to figure it out and hope for the best. Now, normally what would happen is, for a launch like this, is the rocket would launch east for a bit and then perform what's called a dog leg. There we go. Over the ocean. And the reason for that is so that it doesn't drop its first stage on any people. Illuminated by the sun there as we get high enough in altitude to actually see the sunrise. See some shock effects there. We're moving Mach, what is this, 1.8, almost Mach 2. And Mach 2. Beautiful plume there. Our main lifter engine. Oop. A little much. Come on. Come around. There we go. There we go. So here we go. Our second stage is doing most of our plane change. Resetting our payload. We are also going to activate that second stage. Extending my solar panels a little early. We are higher enough in the atmosphere that it doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and point that at the moon. Activate it. This is not going the way I had hoped. The good news is we are at least going to get out of the atmosphere. These four are little RCS thrusters providing 1.38 thrust to weight ratio. Which basically means I am accelerating my spacecraft faster than gravity. See all my debris there, which will eventually re-enter the atmosphere. Now just floating through space, I do want to toggle that. I like the way that looks. It's a little, the antennas are a little long, but you know, they make sense to me. There we go. 80, 90, 200. There we go. And now I can circularize at an altitude of 227.771 kilometers. It'll only take me 117 meters a second of delta V. So execute that node, rotate into position. Watch as the Earth passes us by. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Look at Australia there. Pass right over the top of it. Okay. Execute that node here. It's amazing how much thrust these tiny little engines are providing, but to be fair, there's not a whole lot of weight on this craft either. There we go. That maneuver is complete. So I'm at least at the requisite altitude. Now I need the requisite inclination. Now you'll notice I'm not doing this at an equator, mostly because I don't need to. There. It'll take me 668 meters a second to perform that maneuver. To abort node execution because I'm not quite where I need to be. Close enough. There is a margin for error for these contracts. I believe it's 1% either way. I could be wrong. Executing that maneuver. See my orbit changing ever so slowly. But in space, nothing is fast. Nothing needs to be fast. Absolutely beautiful. You got the sun there, we got Mercury, Uranus, Mars. Silhouetted against the planet. There's the moon over there. And another beautiful shot of the Milky Way. There we go. As soon as this maneuver is complete, we will have to hold for approximately 10 seconds. There we go. And there we are. Mission is complete. Now we have some communication satellites in orbit so that we can communicate all over the world. Mostly. So let's see what other trouble we can get our Kerbals into. So I picked up some contracts. I have a part test here. I like doing the ones at the launch site because they're fairly easy. Have to fly by the moon, gather some scientific information, and put a satellite into an equatorial orbit. Now this one can have any extra bits that I want. So let's go ahead and take care of those. And here we are sitting on the launch pad with our latest iteration. Now we've used this rocket before. This is a very reliable rocket. It actually gets us into orbit. But the real question is, can it get us to the moon? So I'm going to go ahead and complete this test contract. to shut it down just so I don't lose anything. And hopefully this works. There we go, we have a liftoff. Now if I've timed this right, and it looks like I have, I will be able to launch into the plane of the moon. And transfer to the moon fairly quickly. Make a single orbit around the planet. So close that. Heading 850. Let's pitch down a little more. There we go. Beautiful sun there. A little early on that pitch maneuver. It's alright, we have plenty of delta V. Leaving the Earth far behind. This is our first lunar mission. Now, it doesn't have to orbit the moon, it just has to fly by the moon. But I have a specific piece of equipment on here that if it does happen to make orbit, then I can actually map the moon for future use. Here we go. That was a little off. A couple degrees, not a whole lot. And 30 degrees. I think we're just gonna sit here a while. Yeah, 25 degrees. 25 degrees looks good. As our plume expands due to decreasing atmospheric pressure. Degrees now as we push through the upper atmosphere. See a little bit of atmospheric heating going on here. One final adjustment before our first stage burns out. Our second stage. There it goes, tumbling end over end. pushing up through the atmosphere. 40 kilometers downrange. Starting to get a little thermal heating there. Now, my goal is to take this up to a 100 kilometer orbit. Hopefully I can get there before this explodes. Hopefully temperature will go down. See if I roll a little bit, if that helps. That does help. And there we go. We've reached our orbit. Temperature is dropping. And let's extend our solar panels. Now up here the atmosphere is thin enough, I don't have to worry about them breaking. And just because I can, I'm going to activate that radar scan, and let's actually see how our other scan is doing. And as I was saying before, because it's in a polar orbit, I've now mapped the entire surface of the planet. And doesn't that look beautiful? And I can actually get some science from there. Alright, so we're going to execute the next node. We are going to hope for the best. Firing that second stage engine. Let's activate our antenna, our long-range antenna. And this one, I'm going to point at Earth. Now the reason I'm pointing it at Earth is so that when I get to the moon it will link into whatever other satellite happens to be pointing at the moon. Alright, so it's set as our target. We want to home in transfer to target. That's not very good. Off by 27 degrees. So we want to match planes first. This is slightly problematic. Well, hopefully I will have enough fuel at the end of this. Let's see, 900 meters a second. I should have enough fuel at the end of this if I stage in the middle of my burn. to still make it to the moon. I will, however, have to time my launch a little better. Here we go, coming around. Hopefully it takes into account that I have to stage in the middle of this burn. It looks like it has. That's good. Alright, here we go. We are performing our burn. This is not exactly what I wanted to do, but the time accelerated a little bit. Okay, burn is complete. That was nerve-wracking. Oh good, only 887 meters per second to get to the moon. Jupiter, Mars, and speak of the devil, that looks like it right there. So we're going to be going around the back of the planet, around the dark side. And there's Venus. Hopefully, it does give us an intercept for the moon. Oh dear. Oh dear, I've lost connection. Lost my connection. I'm out of power. Come on, sunrise. I did not take into account that this would occur on the dark side of the planet. I'm now desperately hoping for sunrise to execute this node. Hopefully that doesn't put me too far off. Oh, this is going to put me very far off. Desperately hoping for sunrise. Oh, so desperately. We are now executing that maneuver. The sun barely crests over the horizon, but that's all I need. gonna leave me decidedly short on fuel. Oh, I can't believe I didn't take that into account. Oh, I can't believe it. Four minutes past my node. But yes. No. I got an encounter there. I saw it as I was going out. So let's slow down. Yes. All I have to do is fly by. There we go. We are now on our way to the moon. Oh man, that was interesting. There we go. 143 kilometer periapsis for the moon, but we will get there next episode. For now, I'm Taki117, and remember, it's only rocket science.